Yeah, I don't feel like a wanderer. I think I am a wanderer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I balance the wandering with a real sense of place, because there are many different types of wanderers. There are the lost wanderers. There are the wanderers in search of something. That might be home. That might be an escape from home. I'm a wanderer in a kind of, I want to know the land that I come from. So I spend a lot of time searching out, discovering. I'm an explorer more than a wanderer, actually, if anything. But I think you have to mix the two, because a wanderer has to be open-minded and open-viewed in what's around them, whereas an explorer is often quite fixated on discovering one particular thing, and that removes the peripheral imaginings and being open to experience and incident. So I think I'm 30% one and 70% the other. Which way around, I don't know.
What's the most touching thing that you've come across in your wanderings?
That's a very difficult question, because every experience touches a different part of you. I think, being as I'm in Southampton and you're from sort of northeast from here, is that right?
Yeah.
I'd say that I have met with an 85-year-old woman who lives just in Headley, who's a Romany Gypsy, who I have spent the last year recording and learning an enormous amount of music and story and lore. And she's a traveller gypsy, in the old-fashioned sense, has grown up on the road, knows the land inside out and the stories of it. And I think meeting her and the spirit that she has been really wonderful. I think that's touched me immensely.
How did you meet her?
It took me 3 years to get through to her, through her family. I knew that she was special, a real last of a kind in many ways, last of her tribe. And I sought her out, and we met up in between Christmas and New Year 2011. And I spent all year, and I brought her to London in January this year, and she played a concert to 150 people, having never sung or spoken outside her family, aged 85. And she danced, she step danced, she played the spoon, she told stories, and 150 people sat at her knees, at her feet, listening, and everybody cried and cried. It's such an amazing life.
Wow.
Yeah.
Why don't you have that life?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
How do you?
Because I'm a wanderer, because I'm an explorer,
Yeah.
and because I'm absorbing those stories of hers, which are stories that she's absorbed from her grandparents, and they from their grandparents, and so on and so forth. I have a very different life, but I'm a traveller, I'm a singer, I'm an entertainer. I take the stories of this land and mix them up with instruments from other lands, and I re-impregnate the culture that I'm carrying, the traditional folk culture that I love. So there are a lot of similarities, and I do a lot of outdoor work. I spend a lot of time outdoors teaching wilderness living, so I have a very hand-to-mouth foraging existence. So I think in many ways there's many years between us, but I'm very similar to her in that respect.
Did you feel peaceful when you met her?
No, I felt really excited.
Did you? Really?
And so did she. God, I was just full of questions and pouring out songs. Do you know this song? Singing at her singing this song. Finding out, it was like finding the deepest well you've ever found and just pulling up buckets of the most sweet water, and you just drink and drink. So no, it wasn't. She's not a peaceful woman, she's wild. You know, she's charismatic, she's cheeky, and she's funny, and she's sentimental, and she's proud, and she's empathetic and wise. So no, I don't think peace was ever a moment. I think when I'm there's ever a quiet moment. I'm afraid to say. Yeah.
Do you feel a sense of the earth?
I've always had a very strong connection to nature. It's all very well saying that. I hear lots of people saying that. As from being a kid, I spent as much time as I could outdoors. I spent a lot of time reading, learning about trees, plants. I'm a total walking obsessive on edible plants, medicinal plants. Birdsong, I'm really good at identifying birdsong.
What's your favourite bird song?
Well, you will hear it tonight in the concert. My favourite birdsong is the Nightingale, of course, because it's the finest birdsong.
I don't think I've ever heard one. What's it like?
Most birds things like swallows and swifts, we always say that they are English birds that fly to Africa for the winter.
Okay.
The nightingale is an African bird that flies to Britain for the summer. It's a very exotic sound. It's like a rainforest bird, yet there's something quintessentially English about them. And they're small, they're nondescript, brown, round, fluffy, small little things. And it's always the males that sing, and they're singing to each other. And it is penetrating. A very rare bird now. There's only, a handful of woodlands across the country that still have nightingales, but every year I'll go down to a nightingale wood and I'll sit for several hours through the night and just be kind of bathed in the nightingale song, because it is quite wonderful. But then I love the nightjar. I love the mistle thrush. The mistle thrush is
sweet,
spring.
Isn't it?
It's so sweet.
Yeah, sweet.
And then the good old blackbird, which gets me through the winter with its just kind of decadent flourishes. Yeah, the blackbird is, God, if it wasn't for the blackbird, I might not get through the winter. I might have to fly to Africa.
Have you ever seen a blackbird when it's cross?
Puffed out. Fierce, they'll take your eyes out. Yeah, they're not that bad. Yeah. So yeah, I'm very close to the earth, but then actually my favourite thing is to climb trees. I love climbing trees. I love being in top branches, away from the earth, looking down upon it. I'm a water sign. I'm a Cancerian, and I swim in rivers all the time. Actually, I'd say I'd rather be in the water than in the earth.
Have you ever swum in the sea at night?
I have.
I have too.
Have you ever swum in the sea with phosphorescence?
Yes.
Where was that?
It was off the Dorset coast. It
Oh,
was in
really?
the summer. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Once in Suffolk. Isn't it incredible?
It's amazing. But you just have this incredible sense of freedom when the water's black.
Have you seen Life of Pi?
Yeah.
Wonderful phosphorescence
Yes.
in that. It does so well. That really kind of made it real.
How often do you swim in? Is it called wild swimming?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How often do you?
I don't think of it as wild swimming because it's not very wild. I think everybody should do it. I will swim. I think we'll do it on this tour from like March onwards to kind of late October. I'm not really and then every few years or something I'll be doing New Year's somewhere and we'll dive in a lake or under a waterfall or something. Do the odd bit of ice breaking, but you're Norwegian, you probably do it all the time.
Afraid not. You should do it. Live in the UK.
Yeah. No, I do a lot of swimming in lakes and rivers. I'm not a huge sea fan. I mean, I love swimming in the sea, but it's not something I will travel miles and miles to do. I'm much rather rivers.
So, what do you think came first for you? Your passion for that world, or your passion for music? Or are they inextricably linked?
Oh, totally. As a kid, I grew up I went camping a lot in the summers. with an organisation, which was really kind of wasn't my initial introduction to nature. My father's a musician, sang lots of songs, guitar, no folk music as such. But this organisation, we'd spend the summers around the campfire, and every night we'd sing. There'd be a huge repertoire of songs, and we'd all sing together. And that was a kind of different form of music making, music appreciation had always been passive. So come kind of age 11 or 12, it was like all night for about 3-4 hours. As a kid, we'd sing and we'd tell stories, talk stories through the songs. So the sense of the music was kind of there around the fire, as culture and art has always existed around the fire, only until relatively recently. They just seemed kind of, that was the balance. There was by light, we explored, we climbed, we created, we crafted, and by night we sang, and then by day we'd sing while we were doing things. So yeah, the songs were always very kind of a big part of kind of that quite religious experience of being in the land, because it wasn't all the time I got to do it. So as I got older and independent, I did lots more of it. A lot more being outside. Every night I'd be around the fire. Even if it was on my own, I'd sit around the fire. If I'm off wild camping, sit and sing songs. It helps you deal with the dark as well. When you're, if you're walking in the dark through woods and you're really scared, the only way to overcome the bastard imagination is to sing. That's got me through a few journeys.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stop it there.
Thank you, Rose.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.